Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. And like I said, and as you can see by the title, we're gonna do some firearms reviews. So and as the title said, we're going to be talking about Bersa 380 and other small pocket 380s and similar manual arms type firearms. So what we will be talking about as far as the Bersa 380 will be this Bersa 380. I just recently picked this up a couple of weeks ago, which will forever be known as the pandemic riot gun. And I purchased this little sweetheart of a firearm right here for $300. And I know some of you probably thinking right now, $300 for a 380? Yes. This just ain't any Bersa 380. When he got it, I happened to walk in a few minutes later and it was laying on the counter. They hadn't even put it in the case yet. I was like, wow. Let me see that Bersa right there. He kind of laughed, he smiled. He's like, well, at least you know what it is. I'm like, oh yeah. Now my grandfather had one of these when I was a kid. It was all blue steel with wood grips. Had no slide stop release on it. It didn't have a takedown lever. Actually had really no controls on it at all. And it didn't have a decocker, it just had a safety. And I remember shooting it many times as a child, or as a young man. It's like 14, 15. And he had it since probably the 60s. I think he might have won it in a poker. My grandfather was a gambler. Not as like professional, but he was a gambler. I actually got a ring upstairs, an amethyst ring in gold that's from the early 1900s he won in a poker game. He willed that to me when he died. That's because it's the wife's birthstone. But as a kid, I remember shooting his Bersa, and that thing never jammed. No, it didn't have much for misfires. Now, 380 back in the late 70s and early 80s, until recently, to be honest, it was an underpowered firearm. But like any firearm, you know, we could get into the talk of firearms and how it works on the mind, because I got a very good friend of mine. We got a personal story of a guy starting a shootout with a .22 rifle, and everybody's like, oh, 22 won't do anything. And I remember me and him just sitting there laughing and getting in arguments with people. It's like, really? Let me start shooting at you with a fucking 22. Let's see what you do. You're going to do what everybody does. You're going to duck, and you're going to run. So when everybody says that a 22 ain't shit and it ain't got effectiveness, let me know when you're getting shot at with a 22 that you stood there, took the round, and was like, this ain't nothing. Until then, all you low power, ain't shit firearm kind of guys can go piss off. Because anybody that's been in those kind of fights, you start flinging a slingshot at me, and you got any kind of decent accuracy, I'm ducking. I don't want to be hit by anything. So we're not going to talk about effectiveness of calibers, because modern times, 380 is a fine caliber. But while I'm sitting here holding this, I'm wondering how many of you notice anything about this particular 380. And for $300, once you start to really look at it, you start to notice it's well worth the $300 I paid for it. But what really set it off, because I was kind of like, him hawing around, high capacity. That was a big seller. This is a Bersa Plus. This is a 15 round magazine. So it's a high cap mag. But what I liked about it, and I'm not really into shiny guns. All those people that know me, shiny guns really ain't my thing, but this one. And I have a couple others, but this one in particular. Stainless steel slide. Stainless steel barrel. You can't see in there, but there's a stainless steel barrel nut. Stainless steel hammer. Stainless steel trigger with serrations. Stainless steel trigger bar. Stainless steel takedown lever. Stainless steel magazine release. Stainless steel slide stop release. And a stainless steel decocker. Safety decocker. But now that you're sitting there taking a look at it, through the same eyes I was taking a look at it, I think it was well worth the $300. And especially during the pandemic, rioting, it's not a bad purchase. Full rubber grips. Got good grips on it. They're tacky. But I've had it now 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks. I put a couple hundred rounds through it. Not one single flaw. Not absolutely no flaws in it at all. Runs flawlessly. So all of you out there looking for a relatively inexpensive firearm, I wouldn't pass up the Bersa. I wouldn't pass up any of the Bersas. But if you have a chance to get a high cap, and this is one of the fairly new ones, because I was waiting to take it was filthy. It still had the blue packing grease in it when I got it. So whoever bought it, it was used. They fired it, but they never took it apart. And they never gave it a good cleaning before they shot their first round. So as I was handling it, I was like, man, this thing it's dirty. So I took it apart, and obviously it's just a straight blowback design, which means that the barrel is fixed. Only the slide reciprocates. So, by the way, it has a stainless steel spring right here over the barrel. It's got a lot of stainless on it, and this brushed aluminum. It's pretty, but I know it's a new one because when I took it apart, I was waiting to see the magazine disconnect, because it has a magazine disconnect in it. And for all those that go, oh, I don't want one with a magazine disconnect in it, I'm gonna bring out some more here to show you. It'll be a longer review style, because I got other ones here on the table, because we're going to talk about manual arms. Because I in the last couple weeks being out at the range, people were like, oh man, I don't like this, I don't like that. I'm like, really? It must be your first time being around firearms. But when you take the grips off, it's got wraparound grips, which you could trim these if you want to. And I got another representation on the table here, which I did the same thing. I cut this front strap, and it'll make the grip a little smaller. But it's for me, it's a little big for her. I got it for her, because where she goes and works at, she needs You know, because her pocket 380 is on the table too. We got several representations of firearms on the table. We'll get to. But with the the magazine disconnect, generally they have a bar that runs through here. And I was looking for that when I took the grips off because I gave it a really good cleaning, which was, oof. I mean, whoever had it, they must have ran a box of dirty ammo. I don't know how many rounds. It hardly had any marks on it, so I can't imagine they shot it very much. But it was just dirty. I was waiting to see the magazine disconnect bar right here, and it's not. This is one milled, not cast. This is milled. You can see the milling in it. The disconnect, it's all right back here in the back strap, so it's clean. Once you take this off, there's just two hollow sections right here on both sides. It's very clean as far as the inner workings of it. It's all internal, so that must have made, because this thing it shoots really good. The trigger's really good in it. It functions really well. But that high cap, man, that was a big seller for me, because for other 380s, this is hers. And this is the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. And it's a fine little pocket 380. And we've had this several years. And there's no issues with it. It's been a fine firearm. The guy that, our gun shop guy, he colored it in gold for her. But, yeah. That's a fine little pocket 380. But I needed something for her with a little bit more high capacity because she carries this one. This is her carry one. This is her car gun. Because she gets caught in that car, especially up the place where she goes to, the city she goes to. You know, I didn't want her to be underpowered. And that goes back into that. I don't want to hear shit about, 380. Today's modern ballistics, with everything that goes into a 380 bullet these days, as far as, I don't have any of the ammo on the table, but ballistically, there is nothing wrong with a 380. They are not underpowered. Anybody that says so is an ass. They're just being an ass. I would never own a 380. Shut up, stupid. Shut up, stupid. But, no, that is very fine. I noticed it when I picked it up, that all that stainless steel on it for that price. Plus, having experience with one when I was younger made absolute sense. And you have a chance to buy the Bersa 380, jump on it. I don't care how many firearms you got. If you can get a high cap that's pleasant, the thing is quite accurate. I was pleasantly pleased with that pandemic riot gun. So, but when it comes to pocket guns, we've been carrying pocket guns for a long time. Now, this is my little pocket gun. And you hardly ever see these anywhere. There's no safety on it. There's no latches. There is nothing. No last shot hold open. This is the IO. But actually what it is it's a representation of a Kel-Tec. It is not a Kel-Tec. When Kel-Tec, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think this particular Hellcat, because that's what it is a Hellcat. And I've had this for a while. And this is a good gun. It shoots really well. Got a nice little green dot sight on it. Everything through the mag. It's a pocket pistol. But yeah, I have never seen too many more people carry them. Most people, when they see it, they're like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" Some others say, "Oh, that's a nice little Kel-Tec." This is not a Kel-Tec, but kinda is a Kel-Tec. All right, he talks about the Ruger 380 that took over Hellcat. But this is more of a perfect representation. But this is the IO Hellcat. Got a nice little front groove. And it's been shoots good. Never had an issue out of that one. Smith & Wesson, you can't go bad. But here's my original pocket gun. And all those that's known me since I was a younger man, this is my original pocket gun. I actually carried this one everywhere for a long time. Way before there was conceal licenses. But this is my Italian. This is, the Titan. This is made in Italy. 25 auto. And this, like this, is a straight blowback design. The slide reciprocates, not the barrel. And it's got the funky magazine latch on the bottom. See, you got to release it down here. But this is a 25 auto. And I've carried this for years, since I was a younger man. But when it comes to pocket guns, that is a pocket gun. And this little thing has absolutely no flaws. I have never had ever had a issue of this gun running. And this thing is old. I can't even tell you how old this Titan. Titan, made in Italy. But, yep, that's my 25 pocket auto. Now, when we get to manual of arms, why would you buy a new gun with those type of manual arms? Well, that type of manual of arms has been around for a long time. Magazine disconnects have been around for almost forever. And yes, you'll find there are certain little things. What is this, you say? This is a law enforcement gun. I bought this in 1991. Had a little gun shop in here in northern Illinois. This is a Smith & Wesson 459. 9mm high cap. And this actually belonged to a DeKalb County sheriff. And I happened to be standing in the gun shop when he took it out of his holster and laid it on the counter. And I sat there, was looking at it. And the guy behind the counter was like, "Yeah, you like it?" I'm like, "Yeah, what is that? Is he bringing it in to get it repaired? What's wrong with it?" He's like, "Nothing." They were trading their 9mm in for 40 cals. And the day I was in there, because I had a 22 Beretta, a miniature version of a Beretta 92 in a 22 caliber, little smaller, like about half the size. And it was a collector's piece, and he wanted that 22, and we made a deal. He gave me what I wanted for that 22 off to purchase this one. And This here, I've had this gun since 1991. This gun runs. It's got some custom parts in it. Back in the 80s, he said, the cop said when he bought this, back in the 80s, from Smith & Wesson, they sent it to a place to get all the trigger jobs and the slide jobs and get all the got all the parts in it. And this thing runs. And it runs very well. So, got the adjustable rear sight. Like I said, it's a law enforcement gun. Got the oversized trigger for gloves. It got the Packmeyer grips on it. And like this one, I shaved the front. I took these grips off. They finally started to split at the seams from age and taking it off, cleaning it so many times that I went ahead and cut that off. And that's what you can do to that. You can cut that off if you want. But I cut that off and it's still, but the manual of arms, this particular manual of arms has been around for a long time. So when people say, oh, well, why would you? Because there's nothing wrong with the operation. And 15 rounds, if you're spending 15 rounds when you're going to do a magazine change on it, if there's one left in there, oh, I can't shoot that one round that's left in there until I put the magazine back in. Really? That's your issue? Shut up, stupid. But, yeah. So, that's that with that manual arms. But, you know, they weren't the only one. How about Ruger? Ruger with their high cap from the 80s and 90s. With this P90, or P89. This is a P89. Same manual of arms. So this particular style of firearm has been around for a long time. It's a proven design. So why would you care what it does? Now this particular gun here, this is a nail driver. This thing is highly accurate. It's even more accurate than that Smith & Wesson. It is smooth, it is big, it's bulky, it's chunky. But we were carrying these guns. My brother has one of these. The man I call my brother, but yeah, he has one of these. And when he bought it, I was like, man, I really do like that gun. I bought this one, and he bought this one. And after shooting this one, I was like, man, I really do like that. And it was just a different design back in those times. She's chunky as far as weight, little bulky, but these things shoot absolutely exceptionally well, and that goes for this one. But the Bersa 380, what a fine little gun. Now, I'm not going to take it apart and go, there's like got to be 10 billion damn YouTube videos on these Bersas. You know, I just wanted to say, if you ever find yourself looking for a relatively small, something you could carry around, because obviously when we were carrying these around in the 90s in shoulder holsters, this is a chunk of metal. I'll bet this thing weighs like 3 fucking pounds, along with this hunk of metal, man. The only other gun I had that carried lightly was after that cop bought that 40, and they were talking about, yeah, 40, you know, they're not bad, all this, that, and another. How about this bad dude? This is, you have to imagine it without the setup here. And anybody that sees the setup here knows exactly what this is. This is the original. I bought this right after I bought this, because I just had to have one and it was sitting there. And I didn't pay a lot for it. I didn't pay a whole lot for it at all. Came in, I still have the original blue and gray box it came in. This is a Smith & Wesson, because I have several Smith & Wessons. I like Smith & Wessons. But this is the 40 Sigma. This is the original. This is the Glock wing. This is the Smith & Wesson wing of Glock. And they ain't kidding. And before I even really knew how Glock and all that worked, but yeah, high capacity. Yeah, the 15 round. This is Glock. This can't be any more damn Glock. This is what built a whole wing of Glock's factory in Austria. But yeah, nobody wanted to buy the damn thing. He said he had it sitting there when they first come out, and everybody was buying all the Glocks, and nobody wanted to buy it. And I don't know if they just thought it was bad gun, or there was something wrong with it because they were getting sued or what have you. But yeah, I bought that for a dance, even a shitty dance, because I can't dance worth a fuck. But yes, this is an original Smith & Wesson 40 Sigma. Now I carried this one, and the thing is, this fucker's light. This weighs exactly what a 40 Glock weighs. I think it might actually be lighter because this isn't polymer. This is some kind of glass-filled plastic. It is very light. Oh yeah, turn on the light. Yeah, it's got a light laser on it. But actually, it looks pretty good with that. I searched around, so I got that Laser Max on there. But yeah, I carried this for a little bit in the 90s, and now it's a house gun. It shoots like shit. Fucking 40s suck. Now you know why cops got away from 40. All the way through the 90s and the early 2000s. He fired 500 rounds. Well, what'd he hit? Nothing. He didn't hit a fucking thing with it. And all you 40 guys out there, you can kiss my ass, man. You ain't gonna convince me that 40 shoots like a fucking dream. They do not. There's a reason why even in the fucking 90s, all the fucking gangbangers that had 40s, there's a reason why I was a drive-by, but nobody got shot. These motherfuckers are uncontrollable. They shoot like shit. They are a fucking handful. They're all over the fucking place. They are terrible. But they have a place in American history as far as firearms. But don't let anybody convince you that a 40 is a viable caliber. I guess if you just want to be the guy that's in line with the only 40 just to make noise. I'm serious, man. Oh, you got a 40? Yes, you stand at the end of the line. You go over there, point that way. Why? You're just making noise, man. You suck. Well, I can shoot good. Yeah, you can shoot good. You just can't shoot good with that gun. But there's my little firearms presentation about this pretty little thing. I'm quite happy. She's even quite pleased with it. And it's got a lot of cool parts on it for what it is. For an Argentinian. And I wish I had the 45 I gave my brother years ago. I hope he still has it. He has an Argentinian military 45. And the history behind that one is very simple. John Brown, when the Argentinians went to him and said they wanted to buy 45s and went to place an order, they couldn't put out that many 45s, and they were getting ready to transition from old dies and mills to new machines, and they ended up selling the old machines to the Argentinian government and the Argentinian military. Because the thing about 380s, why Bersa is known for their 380s, in South America, 380 is the caliber of the people. They're not walking around like us with 9s and 357s and 45s. They don't have all these calibers. 380 is the caliber of the people. That's what the South American governments said. If you want personal protection, you want to buy a gun, the caliber for the people is a 380. And that's it. That's why Bersa is just prolific in 380s. Because it's the caliber of the people. You know, and the Argentine military made their own 45s. They are exact to the specs of a government Colt. And when I gave that gun to him, because, you know, he gave me a gun, I gave him a gun. That's how your friends work. But I found that. And it was it just piqued my interest because it had the Argentinian markings on it. It was their military gun. It was a surplus. I got one used. It's an older one. But when you took it apart and put it next to any other government 45, a Colt spec government 45, all the parts are interchangeable, except it's from Argentina. I have never found another gun. I look all the time. We were just in a gun shop, sitting there looking at all the 45s. Found a couple old 45s. I was like, oh man, let me look at those, because they had them flipped over. You couldn't see the markings on them. And one of them was a nice old government Smith & Wesson. An old government Smith & Wesson. Try to find Colts these days are pretty rare. People got them, they hang on to them. Colts are Colts. But I have yet to find another Argentinian military 45. And I hope he knows that he has a very rare 45. Might not be worth a whole lot of money, but one of these days, it's worth a lot more than what I paid for it. I've looked them up. And I got another government 45. I got a Rock Island from like 2001, and one of the first run Rock Island armories. And when I bought that, I gave that to him. Because it was special to me. Argentinian 45. It's just a rare piece. You don't ever see them. But, yeah. And here's another Argentinian representation. Hey, look at all that stainless on there. That is just a cool gun. But don't be afraid to buy them old guns like that, man. All these people want to buy new guns. You know, buying new guns are no big deal. Well, I carry this one. This is my new carry gun. Apparently, I got a thing for Hellcats. That ought to make my friends laugh. I got a thing for Hellcats. And yes, it won over the 365. And I can do a whole review on that. If anybody wants to put a comment down there, we could do a review on that one. But, yeah, that's my little gun review. So, y'all have a good one. And we'll come back and do this again sometime.